Has your brain ever wondered what the parts of the brain are and what are their functions? Well, that's basically what we're going to talk about in this video. So what you're looking at is a section of your brain. And to make sense of this, let's say you could see someone's brain from the top. Then you would be able to see the two hemispheres like this. Don't worry, this is not a brain, this is just a walnut. It looks very similar to the brain. But let's say these are two hemispheres. Now, imagine you cut this walnut, and then you look at the inside side of this one. Then you would see something like this, right? The inner side of one of the halves. Well, that's basically what we're looking at. It's the inner side of one of the hemispheres, okay? So let's get rid of that and look at the different parts. We can broadly divide our brain into three parts. The forebrain, which is this big yellow section. The midbrain, which is this tiny pink section. And the hindbrain, or the lower brain, which is this blue section. Usually when we say humans have big brain, we're basically talking about this forebrain section, okay? And then the midbrain is actually the beginning part of the brain stem. Brain stem is on top of which the forebrain sits. The brain stem connects the forebrain to the spinal cord. This continues as the spinal cord. So the beginning section of that brain stem is what we call as the midbrain. And then the later section of the brain stem is a part of the hindbrain, right? This is the hindbrain. And the hindbrain also consists of this section. You know, this itself looks like a mini brain all by itself, but that and the remaining portion of that brainstem is basically what we call the hindbrain. Okay, so what are the functions of them? Before we get into the details, to get a broad sense of what these parts do, we can think that the forebrain is responsible for all the voluntary functions, and the midbrain and the hindbrain together are responsible for all the involuntary functions. So when I say voluntary, think about all the actions that you carry out consciously by thinking about them, like to take a walk, or maybe to talk to someone, or decide to watch this video about brains. So all of that is from your forebrain. And of course, we'll talk more details about that in a second. And when I say involuntary functions, there are some functions that are happening in your body which are not in control, which you're not in control of. For example, your heart beating, or maybe your digestion. You're not in control of those, right? So those are mostly taken care by your midbrain and the hindbrain. So